Thank you, Chairman, for holding this hearing today, and thank you to our witnesses for being here. House Republicans are leading the charge to restore faith and trust in our elections. Election integrity should be a nonpartisan issue, but sadly, House Democrats have made it clear they have no interest in restoring confidence and ensuring security in our elections. As ABC noted this past weekend, 83% of adults support requiring a photo ID to vote, as do 73% of Democrat voters. And yet, Democrat elected officials oppose voter ID at every turn, and 14 blue-leaning states, including Illinois, have refused to implement this common-sense measure. The House will be voting on an expanded version of the SAVE Act this week, and House Administration Republicans, led by Chairman Stile, have introduced the MEGA Act, which builds on the SAVE Act with additional critical reforms. Mr. Noble, first, I want to acknowledge and thank you and my Illinois colleague, Congressman Mike Bost, for fighting to secure the right of candidates to challenge state election laws in federal court. As you know, Illinois insists on the controversial practice of counting ballots received after Election Day, and I'm glad that Congressman Bost's challenge to that policy is moving forward on its merits. In regards to a related case, how does Watson versus RNC, currently before the Supreme Court, affect congressional efforts to ensure that ballots are received no later than Election Day?
There's been some, I guess, the Supreme Court will settle the issue under current law if we prevail. Congress can obviously make new law and be more explicit in what it requires if it acts now. But this question, which arose in Bost first and now is in Watson, is what is the original public meaning of the 1845 statutes? What is Election Day?
Well, we're going to look forward to that. When it comes to voter roll maintenance, how do we ensure that states comply with the requirements set by MEGA Act when many are already non-compliant with the current NVRA statute?
Well, I think forced disclosures, which we try to do at Judicial Watch, and then frankly just follow up with suits. I mean, there's fertile ground and opportunity for us to sue over. Frankly, we shouldn't have to come to that, but obviously lawsuits help. And when we find their laws, when we find a jurisdiction in violation, it's usually not a close case. I mean, they're not sending out confirmation notices. They're not removing people. Mm-hmm. It's pretty slam dunk. But the partisanship nature of the question makes it very difficult to get anyone to just settle and resolve the questions.
Representative Bolin, what steps would you like Congress to take to ensure that states like Michigan and Illinois are fulfilling their responsibilities under federal law to maintain clean and accurate voter rolls?
One is, I do think we need to establish, kind of reset these universal base standards, number one. Number two is, I do think that the post-election audits would help in this regard, the list maintenance, and I think that we should be working in concert with the Michigan legislature at the federal level as well to make sure that these records are turned over. And the responsibility, in Michigan, we have very decentralized elections, and while the Secretary of State wants to take over much of this, we do need partners in this. And I do think that that's what this act can do, is again relegate the authority back to our locals and have the assurance. And if there is funding, I think the funding should be tied to compliance. Mm-hmm. And unfortunately, I mean, I know we don't want to tie fundings, but as the Chair of Appropriations, especially in split government, these are common sense reforms. These are not partisan reforms. We should all be on board trying to allow people to vote. And how does that happen? That's accurate voter rolls and verification.
Well, that's what the American people want. I want to thank you all for the great and courageous work that you're doing. Keep it up. Thank you, and I yield back.